words that we're singing are flown except you alone. Going to leave this broke down palace on my hands and my knees. I will roll, 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 make myself a bed by the waterside. In my time, I will roll, 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 in a bed by the waterside. I will lay my head, listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. River, going to take me, sing me sweet and sleepy, sing me sweet and sleepy all the way back home. It's a far gone lullaby sung many years ago. Mama, mama, many worlds I've come since I first left home. Going home by the waterside. I will rest my bones, listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Gone to plant a weeping willow on the banks, green edge. It will grow, grow, grow. Sing a lullaby beside the water. Lovers come and go, the river roll, roll, roll. Fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Do-do-do.
We are going to celebrate all of the memories and the beauty that is with us from her. So I would like to welcome all of you. I would like to welcome family and friends. So we have family. Her loving husband, Richard Beck. Her sister, Gail Zavardinos. Jillby's nieces and nephews, Laura Zavardinos, Karen Quat, Robert Carlson, Emmerich Carlson III, Richard's sister, Bonnie Burns, and her husband Bill, and her daughters, Jillby's nieces by marriage that are here, and Richard's brother, Christopher McCabe, with his family, and of course, her loving friends that are here for this celebration. We welcome all of you to share in this wonderful day. So please join me as we do an opening treatment, which is our form of prayer. I know there is one mind, one God, and this God is everywhere present. This God is within each of us. And it is in this oneness that I know for all of us, including Jillby, Spirit is all there is. Spirit is always good and blessing us with good. And most of all, Spirit is our comforter. Spirit brings us peace when we need peace. Spirit brings us comfort and love when we need comfort and love. Spirit sees us through all times, good and bad. For Spirit is our steadfast, stalwart support. And right now, as we can picture Jillby in our hearts, let us know that she is here and now celebrating with us as we go through this ceremony, that she is finding peace and happiness in this transitional time when she has moved to a better place, where she has moved to her true oneness with God. So know that all is truly in God's blessings, and all takes place in perfect divine time and brings about, most of all, the peace that God brings that is always with us. So we give thanks, knowing and believing that God supports us and is always here. And we release these words, and so it is.
And so it is.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Jillby, the plans they made put you to an end. I walked out this morning and wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to sing it to. I seen fire and I seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You've gotta help me make a stand. You just gotta see me through another day. My body's aching and time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Oh, I seen fire and I seen rain. I've seen sunny days that would never, ever end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Been walking my mind to an easy time. My back turns to the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time to talk on the telephone line, to talk about things to come.
sweet dreams and flying machines and pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find one friend. But I know that Jillby will see you again.
As we celebrate Jillby and the many gifts she shared with us, her love and her joy and her creativity, there's a song with lyrics of significance that I want to share with you. Scarlet Begonias, and it makes me think of her, with lyrics by Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunt. As I was walking around Grosvenor Square, not a chill to the winter, but a nip in the air. From the other direction she was calling my eye. It could be an illusion, but I might as well try. She had rings on her fingers and bells on her shoes. And I knew without asking she was into the blues. She wore scarlet begonias tucked into her curls. I knew right away she was not like other girls. In the thick of the evening when the dealing got rough, she was too pat to open and too cool to bluff. As I picked up my matches and was closing the door, I had one of those flashes. I'd been there before. Well, I ain't always right, but I've never been wrong. Seldom turns out the way it does in a song. Once in a while, you get shown the light in the strangest of places, if you look at it right. Well, there ain't nothing wrong with the way that she moves. Scarlet begonias or a touch of the blues. And there's nothing wrong with the look that's in her eyes. I had to learn the hard way to let her pass by. The wind in the willows playing tea for two. The sky was yellow and the sun was blue. Strangers stopping, strangers just to shake their hand. Everybody's playing in the heart of Gold Band.
Those words so beautifully describe our memories of Jillby. She was truly a light. She was a love. She was all that was wonderful. And as we go through this process, we will experience sadness. And we will also experience the knowing that she truly is in a better place. That she is experiencing all the love that she gave here on earth, and she is receiving it back. My memory of Jillby is wonderful. I had been gone from this center for a while, and I came back in January. And the first person that I saw when I came back was Jillby. And there she was, standing to greet me. And she gave me this incredible smile. And then she opened her arms and she hugged me, tight and warm. And it was in that moment that I knew how welcome I was as I came back and how loved I was by her. And feeling that love, I couldn't help but give it back. And from that moment on, we had this beautiful love relationship, this beautiful friendship that was based on love. And that is who Jillby was and is. She was the epitome of love. And it is said by Ernest Holmes, who founded religious science, that love is the eternal flame of the universe. And where there is love, there is God. For God is love. And Jillby was the perfect expression of God on this earth. For she was always loving. And she was always smiling, even to the end, and welcoming, and filled with joy. Jillby had so many wonderful qualities. One of them, as we know, is the love. But she also knew that love was limitless. So she truly did express God here on this earth. She also expressed creative talent. She had a passion for her creativity, for this ability to paint and to give back. And that is God in expression also. That we take the talents that are within us and we let them flow forth. And that's what she did. And most of all, she was a light. And what we know is that the light is the light of God. The light is the divine shining through each of us. And Jillby truly was like this light. It was as though when you saw her, you not only felt the love, but she brightened a room. She made us each feel lighter in ourselves. She was the expression of God, individualized here on this earth. She was filled with this goodness. So I asked Richard a hard question. I said to him, well, tell me something that maybe was a characteristic that was difficult, because she has so many good ones. And he said, this is tough, let me get back to you. So he finally got back to me and he said, well, she was stubborn. But here's what we know. That stubbornness is what saw her through this time of pain. That stubbornness is what helped her to hang on tight and say, I am not giving up. I am here, and I'm going to be here as long as I possibly can. So what we see is, well, we might say stubbornness can work against us. It worked for us, and it was a great asset. And it truly was a beautiful gift from God. Ernest Holmes says, death tugs at my ear and says, live. I am coming. And what that means is that even though we might experience death here on this earth, the living continues, no matter where we are. For we share in this life of the divine. We share in the oneness of God. We share in the eternity of the living, which says that when we transition to another place in time and space, when we make that change, there is still life after death. And we know that through the Bible, we have learned that God always has been and always will be, and that he created us in his likeness and his image. And in sharing in that, there truly is no death. The only death is to the human body, but not to the spirit. So as we sit here today, let us know that Jillby is still with us. She is living through us, through the love that she gave, through all of the memories that she created. And that there, in her position and place with the divine, she is still living and still with us. So let us each take that image on this beautiful program of Jillby and let that go into our hearts and hold that and know that because of what she has taught us of love and light and strength, that we are truly better people for having known her, that we are greater on this earth than we would have been without her. And she will continue to live. She will live through each of us by practicing all that she has taught us. So hold her in the warmth of your hearts and know that she is our shining light and that she leads us and guides us to always live better and better. And so it is.
And so it is.
And now I would like to welcome Richard Beck, her beloved husband, who would like to share memories with you.
Wow. Thank you all for coming. I'm speaking extemporaneously, very briefly. After we're done with the service, we're going to allow any family and friends to come up and share their eulogies or thoughts. We run here to 4 o'clock. The service will end shortly, but then we will have other people come up, and if I feel like I didn't quite say everything, I'll come up again later. There's so much about my wife that even I, in her latter days, I don't mean since she passed away, but during her illness, that I began to realize how she showed a light that I didn't even understand. I understood the light that she showed, but it was broader than I could ever imagine, and it fed back to us, lifted us up. Everybody ever apparently met my wife believes that she belonged to them. Whether it be my family, who's taken her as a sister, my friends who took it as as one of their own, or if it's because she became a fan of the band that I liked and began the fan club of that band. We called it Limbo. You wouldn't understand it; it's a long story. But there's 4,000 people around the country that are doing things for Jill this last couple of weekends, last weekend and this week, for instance. They challenged everybody to do random acts of kindness all over the United States.
Oh, wow.
And then when they did, they wrote back and they told the stories of what they did, and I won't go into them now, but there's like 100 of them. And when they helped somebody, and they would, oh, what'd you do that? They said, that's from Jillby. There's a music festival this weekend that's going on, and somebody set up a wonderful stand of their confections and food and dishes and vegetarian things. And if you come to that stand at that festival and say, sweet baby Jillby, you get $1 off. I don't even know what this festival is. But people are, a couple days after Jillby passed away, people were picking up pennies and posting them on Facebook and saying, these are from Jill. People are seeing rainbows, and they believe they're from Jill. What I want to tell you about briefly, because it's too long of a story to tell in this space, is how I met Jill and how I found her again. I met Jill when I was 19 years old and I looked like this. I was a roadie for a rock, I was a cab driver and a roadie for my first rock band. I did sound for a lot of bands after that, but the very first one I worked for was called J.D. Foster and Eastman. She looked kind of like this, although this is when she's 17. She was 22. That's basically what she looked like. And that's where the Barry Herman read the song Scarlet Begonia, because I saw her from across the room and I looked at her and I knew right away she was not like other girls, because she was a friend of the band. She was 22 or 21, I was 19. She was in college, I wasn't. She was a photographer going for a degree. I was carrying equipment. We were kind of in different fields of places, but we became good friends for about 6 months because we both went to see everything they ever did. We had one date. It was a magical date, as hippies did back in those days. We used to expand our mind, shall we say. Substances that should remain unnamed, but it kind of makes you see things that you didn't see. And that's the one experience I had with her, and we were in Old Town Triangle, and we went up to a roof and saw a cathedral, and I thought I saw angels, and I told her that I saw angels, and she said, oh, I was getting a little too heavy for her. But that story would be a book, but from that place, a lot of my spiritual beliefs developed. I called it magic, and where I went in my life after a lot of changes came down to some of the heartfelt things that I had on that day. When I was 47 years old, I asked my niece Tess to take pictures of me. I'm sorry. Never saw her again, but band broke up, done. Never saw her again for 34 years.
Wow.
Don't know what happened to her, don't know what, didn't really think about her, went through a lot of changes in my life. When I was 47, I had my niece Tess take some black and white portraits of me because I used to have hair down here. I was going to cut my hair. Where did I go? I said, let me think, where should I go have those pictures taken? Oh, in front of that church that we had that experience in, because it had a special spiritual base. Fast forward to 2008, and the best I can tell you is a little voice said to me, inner voice, find Jill Krause. I said, really? Okay. How exactly do we do that? Well, it's this thing they have called Google. So that's a long story, because there's another Jill Krause in Chicago. She's a sportscaster, and so the first 6 pages of Google or 7, it's all about her sites and sports and this and that, what great station she's from. I found her on Classmates. That's the Jill Krause. Went to Columbia College, right age and everything. Wrote there, didn't get anything back. I saw that she had a handle, a nickname called Jillby. So I started Googling Jillby. Well, that'll get you a lot further. You will find lots of stuff. And to this day, if you want to go to jillby.net, you will find all of her movies, all of her poems, many of her pictures. I will maintain that site and I'll keep going. So anyway, I found her there, but I still couldn't contact her. I finally found that she had a site on MedHelp under the psychiatric, group stuff, and I thought, well, this is good. I'm glad she's got psychiatric issues. I got psychiatric issues. Yeah, and so it worked. Anyway, I wrote her a letter, and she got this. To me, she tells me that she was just standing by a closet, and all of a sudden she said, I wonder what happened to Rich Beck.
Wow.
Well, I really like that guy. That's what she told me. And then the next day she gets a letter from me, and she almost fell off her chair, and we started writing back and forth, and we got together, and we've been inseparable ever since. And that began a 7.5-year journey of a rebirth. We had both never been married, both didn't have children, both had breakdowns and came back together. And that's how I got together with Jill. And then before I was expecting quite a longer life. But all my life, I've been a fan of the Grateful Dead, and all the girlfriends I ever had hated them. And Jillby not excluded from that. But when they had the reunion, she came to the shows in Soldier Field. She got struck by lightning. She began what we call a baby deadhead. And she was swooped up in the arms of all of these other fans that thought that she was just as special and perfect and wonderful as anybody had ever. We got on a plane going to Vegas, and people to see Dead and Company out in Vegas on our one vacation. And people got on the plane and midway said, "Is that Jillby? That's Jillby, isn't it?" And I'm like, "I've been seeing the dead for 45 years. No one ever said, is that Richard?" They call her the baby deadhead. So anyway, she became a late fan, and she got involved with all of the community, and they lifted her up, and they gave me donations so I could stay home with it. And so did you, and so did family. But they started the GoFundMe page. And hundreds of people that I don't even know gave me a salary so I could, well, money so I could pay the rent and stay home with them. And that's the story I want to share with you today, and that's about all the time I have. I have a 5-minute video that was put together by a fan of hers as a dedication. It appeared on the website, on YouTube, the next morning after she passed at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And if I had put it together and spent weeks, I wouldn't have been able to do a better job. I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to move on. Thank you very much.
All I know is something like a bird within her sing. All I know, she sang a little while and then flew on. Tell me all that you know, I'll show you storm and rain. If you hear that same sweet song again, you know why. Anyone who sings a tune so sweet is passing by. Laugh in the sunshine, sing, cry in the dark, fly through the night. Don't cry now. Don't you cry. Don't you cry anymore. La 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 la. Sleep in the stars. Don't you cry. Dry your eyes on the wind. La 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 la. If you hear that same sweet song again, you know why. Anyone who sings a tune so sweet is passing by. Laugh in the sunshine, sing, cry in the dark, fly through the night.
called The Ship. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast, hull, and spar as she was when she left my side. And she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes!" That is moving from the physical plane into eternality. And that we hold Jillby in our hearts and allow her the joy and the bliss of eternity. And so it is.
Well, I just wanted to say, before I sing this song, that when I came to, I'm a singer, one of the singers who come out to the page to sing at the church that Jillby was a part of. And when I first got there, I saw this woman with pink hair. And she greeted me at the door, and she was, when I hugged her, I just felt engulfed in love. And whenever I hugged her, I felt engulfed in love. She was such a wonderful, beautiful spirit, you know. And at some point while she was in the hospital, I kept saying, okay, I have to skip my second. I do a service right after the service that I would do at DuPage. And I told them I can't come because my friend is in the hospital. And I didn't know her very well, but I just felt drawn. I had to go and see this woman in the hospital. And she was full of energy and, you know, cheering me up more than what I was doing for her. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving us Jillby, you know, to her family. Thank you so much for giving her to me, you know, for the short amount of time that I had the opportunity to know her. So I'm going to do this last song and sit down. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mystery until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel wings and heaven's doors. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous. Distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Allah, angel wings in heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, and it's a sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth and Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air that we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. Oh, yes, one power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for its love is almost deep. It's one power, yes, one power. Oh, it's one power. Oh, one power, yes. It's the power of love that is forever in you and me. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me.
It is this one power and our belief in this one power, this faith that pulls us through challenging times, that allows us to move through from grief into celebration. And Jillby would want celebration now. Jillby would want us to fill our hearts with her memories, with her joy, her enthusiasm, her love, her light. For she truly blessed us as the light of life, shining forth. So as we are together today in this celebration, please join me as we do our closing treatment. In this oneness with Spirit, knowing that God is everywhere present, I know for Jillby right now, I am magnificent. I am exactly where I need to be in this moment of time. I am filled with the light of spirit, and that light shines forth where I am onto the earth and lights up everyone's life. I am moving through this and finding joy, and most of all, living in the love of God that I always lived in, but now it's even greater and brighter. I am at peace. And that peace is of God, and that peace resides in each of us. So most of all, speaking for each of us, I know joy and celebration and beautiful love and memories. And so, speaking for Jillby, I am in your hearts forever. And so I give thanks. And these words are released, and they are truth, and so it is.
And so it is.
We want to thank you so much for coming and joining us today for this service and celebration. And now we are going to open the floor to anyone that would like to bring memories of Jillby. And we will start with her family first, and then any ministers that are present, and then her loving friends. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Bonnie Burns. I'm secretary to the DuPage Church of Religious Science, and I am Jillby's sister-in-law. And that's the most important thing today, is I'm her sister-in-law. When I first met Jillby, she was wearing denim overalls and pink pigtails. And my brother brought her over and said, "This is my new girlfriend." And I thought, there's no way she and I are gonna be friends. She was also holding a chihuahua. I had two more. And she was in my house in front of the Christmas tree. And there was a Santa on top of the tree, which is permanently in the picture on her head. But I was certainly wrong. By the time they married a year later, I was so involved with her that I butted into her ceremony by saying what she should dress. "Please dress up for the wedding." And she looked at me like, "Of course." So when she arrived for the ceremony of Just a Peace, she was wearing a beautiful white blouse and a veil, and she had makeup on. And until that day, I hadn't seen her with makeup. I did not recognize her, but she looked beautiful, absolutely beautiful. She had makeup on, fluffy blouse, and she was wearing black jeans, though, and boots. But I have a thing about what she wore to church. I didn't like her tank tops, so I would pick her up for church and I'd tell her she couldn't wear what she had on. And she would say, "Okay, what do you think I should wear?" And I said, "Something more appropriate." I was very mean to her. And she said, "Don't you want me to go in and change?" And I'd say, "You betcha." So she'd run in, and she came out this one day with a sweater up to her chin. I think she was trying to be funny. She had a turtleneck on. She was all dressed, so she looked dignified for church, and I loved it. And what I asked her to do was, because we were so close that she didn't get mad at me. Most of my friends and family didn't realize how close we were. They still don't. We were soulmates. I have other things to say, so I'll get up. We got from some alternate universe. I don't know why I typed that, but there were days we were in an alternate universe.
Jillby does that.
But we were searchers of God and His beauty. We went together. We went to classes, and immediately after class in Carroll Stream, we would go to Denny's in Carroll Stream, and she'd get a Grand Slam. Now, everybody knows what's in the Grand Slam, right? You get your sausage, your bacon, your pie, your pancakes, your syrup. She was vegetarian, so her Grand Slam was egg whites, oatmeal, toast, and pancakes, and a smoothie. So that was what she ate. We had so much fun. I also want to mention her giving spirit for a moment. This past Christmas, I wanted to have Christmas again at my house. I hadn't had it for a while. I had a feeling that somebody wasn't going to be back. It was a very strong feeling. I couldn't get over it. I thought it was me. I started going to doctors like crazy. I was sure somebody was leaving. I also don't tell this to my family because they think I'm crazy. So anyway, we had a great time, and I have pictures of her and Richard having a ball at Christmas, and we had a grab bag. And the day before, I remembered I didn't tell Jill there was a grab bag. So I called her and said, you know, there's a grab bag, and it's $25, and you got to get something. She goes, today's Christmas Eve. And I went, well, why don't you just bring one of your photos, your pictures that you did for the wonderful exhibit, and wrap it up, and it's $25, maybe $125. Right. But give that to one of the family members, they'll love it forever. So she said she would. So she showed up with photos for everybody. We all got one. She didn't have them ready, so she gave us each a postcard, which I left in the folder, Bill. The postcard, each person got a card, and that's why it's important. He'll bring it up. I'll show you why it's important. Each person got a card telling them what they were going to get, because she couldn't on Christmas Eve buy frames, order frames, put them all in frames. So everybody, she did photograph the photos she was going to give to each person, and she gave each person a card, which was also Artie. For Christmas Day, we got this showing them what we were going to get. So when it was time to get the pictures, there was about a month later, she was already had cancer. She was in the hospital. So I went to the house, or Richard brought them to me, I don't remember. They were in a box, and I just gave them out recently, just before she died. We got our pictures. And what we all did is display them, and we took pictures and sent those to her in the hospital. So she thought the grab bag was the one present for everyone. That is so Jillby. And that was her last gift from Jillby. But today is a gift from Jill also. She wants you to rejoice in her life and be kind to each other.
That's right. Right on.
The butterfly necklace around the urn. I visited Jill often in the hospital, especially in ICU. After her surgery, she was in ICU for 4 days and intubated because of pneumonia. And being a medical person, I like hospitals. I'm weird. I like ICU. So I went there a lot and just sat next to her, because she would wake up and be very confused, and you just say, it's okay, you're fine, she'd go back to sleep. But after she got out of ICU and was put in the heart hospital, visiting one evening, went down to get something in the cafeteria. There's a lady with tables of jewelry, and I went looking at it, and it was okay, you know, but that's what I found. And I said, the butterfly necklace was so beautiful, and I said, I need to buy this, but I don't know, who should I give this to? I really, honestly, I want to say, oh, I knew I wanted to give it to Jill, and it was, you know, but I didn't know. I just said, I need to get this. Is it for my mom? I think, you know, my sister? For me? No, it's not for me. Well, maybe my mom. I'll buy it. So I bought it, and I had it, and then Richard met me at the cafeteria. We started going upstairs, and I said, look what I got. And I was going to say, I think, you know, maybe mom will like, but I pulled out, I said, look what I said. Oh my gosh, Jill would love that. That is so beautiful. And she loves butterfly. I'm like, oh, okay. That's what I was supposed to buy it for. I didn't know. But she put it, she loved it, obviously. It's not expensive. It's just very colorful. But she wore it nonstop every day in the hospital. Everybody who came in, every person who took an x-ray of her, or she went to a test or a CAT scan, or a nurse was like, what a beautiful necklace. So she was very sweet that every time I showed up at the hospital, she'd pull it out and say, did you butterfly necklace? So, and that's why it's on the urn, because it was always around her since she was diagnosed, and I was there that day in the hospital. So that's what I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you. Okay. Before anybody else does.
I have to fill out that story in case anybody hasn't heard me tell it already. There's a watercolor next to her vase. That watercolor was done by a friend. There's a watercolor next to her vase. That watercolor was done by a friend of hers that she never met, called Bonnie Glassman. She's from Chicago. She was a Facebook friend. At 9 o'clock on the night that Jill passed, she says she was woken from a nap, was compelled to paint this painting. She didn't know why. And she knew who it was for, but it wasn't even something she would paint. She posted on Facebook the next day and mailed it to me. Jill has a butterfly crying as a tear. This is the picture of Jill post her transition, channeling through someone else to let you know how sad it was to leave all of you, as much as it was for us. And the way you know it is because the person who painted this never knew a thing about this butterfly, and there's not a butterfly on her page. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
It's very magical, and that's from Jill herself to you.
Hi, I'm Bonnie's daughter, Richard's niece, and Kelly. I wasn't going to say anything, and something just popped in my head. I'm a special ed aide in our school district and where we live, and my husband works for the school district also, at the same school our son is currently. And with special ed, you know, with all the kids that we work with, I also work with speech and OT, occupational therapy, employees and everything and we all talk about the kids that we work with. And I have since moved from the school to the junior high. My husband was telling me the other day, do you know Susan Sanchez? And I said, the occupational therapist, yes, I know her, we've worked together many times and stuff. Well, she just came up to me and said that she was so sorry about Jillby. And at first, my husband said, Jillby? Who's, Jillby? He just knows Jill. And she said, your aunt that just passed away. And you know Jillby? Turns out how they grew up.
High school, yeah.
They went to high school together. And we worked all this time together and didn't know that we each knew Jill because she found out from Facebook saw me posting when I put Jill's name on it, it went on her page because they reconnected from after high school all these years from Facebook. And so I just thought that was just us. We found out after she passed that we know Jill. So I just thought that was a way to bring us together because I just, always liked the lady, but here all this time we knew each other, Jill. And so besides Facebook, Jill's a big, powerful presence to bring people together.
Big, powerful presence.
And I love her, and I'm going to miss her forever. So
Thank you, Kelly.
Hello.
Hi.
I told her not to tell anybody, and I told Mom not to tell anybody. But, okay. And so some of you will hate me for this, but Jillby was my favorite. Now, I'm not following that paradigm that, there's like this parent and the children, but it's more like there was no way that I could ever doubt that Jillby loved me.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can say that I wish I had 25 Jillbys because she was a curious student. She was determined to know truth. She was diligent in wanting to be clear, and she was the best volunteer that I've ever seen. I remember I had to talk her down a couple of times because she was so uptight that she couldn't do the sound and do the library and do something else and do the greeting and all of this, and it was like, Jillby, brave, baby. Because that's why I say I wish I had 20 of those, because there was, and you remember this, there was no way that she was gonna let something be unattended because she wanted to be of service. And, after having pastored a couple of centers, I can tell you that to have somebody like that is rare and it's special. And, I had been following Richard's posts, and I had been chatting with Jillby by email and by instant message on Facebook. But after her surgery, I went to see her on a Sunday morning, and she had such a joy on her face when I walked in the room. And when I went to sit next to her, she grabbed my hand so very tight. And I said, I guess Richard went home. I know he's been here a lot. And she's like, you know, and so I said, would you like for me to pray with you? And she said, because she wasn't able to speak. And as I was there with her visiting, the nurse came in, male nurse came in, and he was like, well, you know, she's fine, everything's fine. I guess he was kind of wondering who I was. I knew I could come up in there because I was a minister, and nobody puts a minister out of ICU. So I'm cool, I'm here, you know. So he was like, she's fine, and she was like, you know, and so he was like, oh, you know, the breathing that's just the pneumonia, whatever, and she had this exasperated look on her face. So anybody that knows Jillby knows anything she feels is all over her face. And you know, and so when I left there, we exchanged love and everything. But I had let her know a couple of things in the process, and we talked on the phone. And you know, in the process of her moving through this, I knew that Jillby was going to hold on to love and hold on to life. But the morning of her transition, she came into my bedroom, into my mind, into my heart. Her spirit was present. And I said, well, Jillby is saying goodbye. And so I'm like, okay. So, you know, I spent some time in prayer and spent some time in distant vigil until Richard made the announcement on Facebook. And then, you know, it was about, you know, that releasing, because, you know, it had been hours, maybe like 4 o'clock that morning, and it was like 8 o'clock that night until she released this earthly realm. But what I know, and what Bonnie knows, and I'm not gonna check up on her, but I'm gonna say this so she doesn't forget that regardless of whether or not somebody thinks you're crazy, there is an alternate universe, and there is the real life that is invisible. And because I know that we'll always be connected to Jillby, because Jillby's love is infinite, and I have no question about that at all. And so when you think about the wonderful things that she's gifted us, she made a meditation tape for all of her classmates. She gifted me with a poem and one of her photographs. In her generosity, I know that we've learned how to be generous with our love. And I know in her spiritual quest that we've learned how to be determined about our spirit. Even my teacher's assistant, Paulette, said, you know, I can see that there's been such a transformation in you. And so we get to look at Jillby as love and expression and celebrate her. I know I will. See ya.
Thank you. I'm Reverend Paulette, and I was in classes, a couple of classes with Jillby, and I didn't know her before that. And kind of like Wami, I'm like, what's with the pink hair? And I just didn't quite know what to think about it. I was a little jealous because I never had a nerve enough to make my hair purple. Because I had a purple robe for ordination, and I thought, well, that'd be cool, but no, I didn't have enough nerve. So I really admired that about her. And I especially admired just how she sucked up the stuff in the classes. And not only did she suck it up, she then took it in and embodied it. And we just saw her bloom in the class. And I so admired the artwork that she did. I had no idea she was such an accomplished artist. And it was just marvelous to hear the DVD tape that she made for us, meditation tape, DVD. It's beautiful. And so I always have that to remember her by. And along with the vision of somebody with pigtails and that courage that went with it. Thank you.
Turned around the whole time, and I just turned around and hear Susan Sanchez.
Well, I'm not a very good speaker, and I may start crying. Jill was so close to me. I probably, I don't know. I've probably, have known her since, let's see, when I first moved to Skokie, I was about 9 or 10 years old. And started school there, didn't know anybody. And here comes Jill, just kind of skipping up to me and saying, "Hi, I'm Jill, who are you?" You know, I mean, that personifies Jill. That's Jill. And we just hit it off since then, and we played jacks together. That was our big game, you know. At recess time, we'd go out and we'd play jacks, and then, I don't know, Jill was, you know, we'd just do goofy things together all the time, and we were inseparable. And we kind of, people would call us like Mutt and Jeff for older people out there, because Jill was tall, had blonde hair, blue eyes, and short, and dark hair, and brown eyes. And Jill quickly became part of my family. We lived only a block away from each other, and our doors were always opened. And so there was, you'd walk in, and you could walk in the front and go out the back, just a straight shot. And here Jill would be coming through our house and just go, "Hi, Mom, hi, Dad." She called my parents Mom and Dad, and my younger brothers and sisters, my older brothers, you know, she'd maybe acknowledge them, go out, walk out the back so she could go through the alley to the local drugstore and buy piles of candy. So, and we would just do crazy things all the time together. When Jill passed and I told my family, they were really, really upset. My mother was really just shocked, and she said, "You know I haven't seen Jill in a long time, but she was just part of the family." And my brother started reminding me of stories of how Jill and I would go up into our attic and around Halloween time and set up like a spook house for my younger brother and sister. And we, you know, blindfold them and bring them up there and through there. So we used to do like silly things. It was never a downtime with Jill. If, you know, we'd be sitting around, sometimes Jill and I'd be sitting around in my room and we'd be like, "Well, what should we do?" So this one time, I don't know why we came up with this, but I think Jill came up with it probably. We had some Welch's grape juice in my refrigerator. She says, "Oh, let's go get the grape juice, and you lean back, Susan, on the back of the bed, and I'll pour it in your mouth, and we'll see how long you can hold it in your mouth." So that's Jill. So we'd be back there, and of course, it didn't last too long, and it was all over, and I'm like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do? What's my mom gonna say?" But we just used to do the goofiest things, and I mean, it was just, that was Jill, you know, just always bringing fun. One time we got a group of the kids on our block together, and we did the Beatles. So we all dressed up like a Beatle and pretended, you know, we were doing the Beatles. So she was just such, I mean, I cannot think of my past without Jill in my mind. I mean, we were always together. She was always part of my family. Even when she went through some difficult times in her early years, she was at my house all the time. Whether I was there or not, didn't even matter. I mean, we always, you know, played together, and yeah, she was there, but she was so much a part of my family that sometimes she'd be over, and I wouldn't even be over there. So, just to, I know everybody here has known Jill, you know, more recently, and it's kind of nice to just know the background of her too, and really how her spirit has just really stayed the same throughout, and just loving and fun-loving and kind and always giving and caring. And I was lucky enough to be able to connect with her again in our later years and just see the transformation she made, but at the same time her spirit was still there, and just fun-loving and caring, and this is also something that she gave me during the time that I've more recently connected with her. But I will always, always hold her dear in my heart and love her. So, yeah.
I'm Jill's sister, Gail. And
Oh, Gail.
I just wanted to let you know that by the time that Sue came on the scene, our mother had passed away. Jill had been 7, and your family was absolutely wonderful. She lived down there.
Yeah.
And we always knew where to find her. They did crazy things and got in trouble together.
Yes, we
And your
did.
family was so important to her. Thanks.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I'll try not to. I just wanted to kind of like prove to everybody it is really true. People don't just say that to be nice, that there was something about her that just the vibe, I could just like feel a pull to her. And I thought I had time, you know, to like get to know her better. And you gotta, when you see somebody at specialty, you have to take every moment you can, because you might not see them again. And I thought I had all this time to kind of get to know this really cool chick, that just my vibes were just going towards her, you know, and the way she loved animals and stuff like that. And she really did stand out, and I didn't even know her as well as all of you did. Very funny, Jillby. But I mean, it's very true. I'm like somebody that didn't know her as well as all of you did, but she really makes an impact on you when you set eyes on her. And I really wish I would have like taken the opportunity to go sit next to her and talk to her more, but I was more distracted with my friend Missy and Amy and stuff, and thinking, oh, I got plenty of family get-togethers to talk to her. So cherish everybody that you have that's special. You never know. And you know, my whole thing is I said, if there's a guardian of the Rainbow Bridge that the animals take to pass over to heaven, there is now a guardian of the Rainbow Bridge, and it will be Jillby. Thank you, and thank you, all of you, for, I'm glad I got to know you, because I never would have met her otherwise.
Who you are, please.
My name is Kimberly.
Somebody just wanted to.
Why are you sitting with the family?
Because
Tell them who you are.
I moved, my friend Missy, I worked with at the optical, her aunt, Jillby. And I met her family, and then I ended up living in the apartment building that her parents owned. So it kind of all snowballed, and then I kind of nannied Amy a little bit there, and
for 2 years,
yeah, and then ran into Jillby here and there, keep thinking that there was going to be all this extra time. So I just want to say cherish, you know, any bond that you feel, and spend time with people, because you never know how much time you have left. So that's all I want to say.
Please stay with us and visit if you want, and we've got food in the back. Hang out. If you gotta go, go. I'm so glad everybody came. If we were to tell you everything about my wife Jill, you would be here for hours and hours and hours. She loved, her big thing was animals and rescues, and she had 5 different swallows, 3 that she came with when I married her. Then we got thrown out of the first apartment, and she moved in with me, and we got thrown out because she brought the 3 dogs. I should also say that she was a great fan of Blue Oyster Cult, Foghat, Jackson Brown, Todd Rundgren, and James Taylor and Dan Fogelberg, and many, many other bands. A big music lover, very much into music. She was very much into theater. She was very much into poetry. She went to Second City and took classes there. She made her own film that was shown at the Chicago Film Festival and written up in the Chicago Reader. If you want to know more, it sounds like the end of an advertisement. If you want to know about Jillby, look up Jillby.net, and you will find all of her poetry, all of her films, many of her photographs. She has a Kindle book on Amazon of her poetry. It's free. And she has several other websites that I have to find. I mean, she has Jillby Works and a couple of, but Jillby, www.jillby.net. I will maintain that site as soon as I can find out who to pay. But it's up at least a year. I know she just renewed it, so it has a lot of links and a lot of great poetry. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't you know I'll show you storm and rain. If you hear that same sweet song again, you know why.